I call upon the spirit of the owl, messenger of wisdom. Welcome to the Temple of the Owl. Merry meet, seekers of knowledge, for I am Matzal, your host through the mysterious ways. Hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Send a little positivity out to everybody that needs it. This is here at the Temple of the Owl, deep in the forests of Northern California. In this episode, we're going to talk about a man named John C. Lilly and some sensory deprivation. And this is where, magic and spirituality, we talk about it on all the levels, and it's through the perspective of a modern witch. So these are just ideas, just ways to help you guys live a magical life, think about things differently, and hopefully it helps you, connect and get a better perspective on life. So feel free to change what doesn't work. If anything that helps you, you could take it and use it in your life and make it better, please do. It's individual for everybody. So I want you guys just to try to take these things we're just discussing and just remember that we're just talking about this stuff. And if it helps you, I hope it can help you. I want you guys, thank you guys for listening on KUAP Digital Broadcasting. That's Troubled Minds Radio Network. Thank you guys for listening on that. And I like to start the show with what I call the MOD, or the message of the day. It's a little quote that I find that helps me explain the show. And today's quote is, "In the providence of the mind, what one believes to be true either is true or becomes true, within certain limits to be found experientially and experimentally. These limits are beliefs to be transcended." And that's by John C. Lilly. And this quote reflects the powerful role and the belief of perception in shaping reality. It's a concept that's central to many witchcraft and spiritual practices. It emphasizes the idea that the mind holds a potential to create and transform experiences, aligning with the witchcraft notion that intention and belief are potent forces in manifesting change. Let's talk about the life of John C. Lilly. He was born in 1915 and he lived to 2001. He was an American physician, a neuroscientist, a psychiatrist, and an author, known for his groundbreaking research in a variety of scientific fields. He gained fame for his work on dolphin communication, sensory deprivation, and consciousness exploration. Here's an overview of his life and some of his contributions. He was born in St. Paul, Minnesota. He was an intelligent and curious child with an early interest in science and engineering. He studied at the California Institute of Technology and later earned a medical degree from that University of Pennsylvania. His career path included work in neuroscience and medical research, with a focus on the brain and its capacities. Lilly is perhaps most famous for developing the isolation tank, or the sensory deprivation tank, in the 1950s. The tank is a dark, soundproof chamber filled with salt water at skin temperature, in which individuals float effortlessly to block out the external sensory input. The purpose of these tanks was to study human consciousness by removing all outside stimuli, allowing people to explore altered states of awareness. This research laid the groundwork for new understandings of how the brain reacts when stripped of external influences. Lilly was deeply interested in animal intelligence, and he developed a notable passion for dolphin communication and consciousness. His research at the Communication Research Institute in the U.S. Virgin Islands involved an extensive study of dolphins, languages, abilities, and their social behavior. He believed dolphins had a high level of intelligence and experimented with the communication between humans and dolphins, sparking a controversy and fascination within the scientific community and popular culture. His work inspired the public's perception of dolphins as intelligent, complex beings and contributed to the movement against dolphin captivity. Lilly's fascination with altered states of consciousness led him to experiment with psychedelic substances like LSD and ketamine. He combined these experiences with the isolation tank in the sessions to explore the depths of the human mind and report his encounters that included contact with what he described as higher intelligences or entities. His work during the time was influential in the fields of consciousness, research, and New Age thought, pushing the boundaries of traditional neuroscience and diving into the more mystical interpretations of the mind. Lilly wrote several influential books about his experiences and his theories. His notable titles include The Center of the Cyclone, an autobiography of inner space in 1972. The book details his explorations and consciousness in altered states. He also wrote Programming and Metaprogramming in the Human Biocomputer in 1967. Lilly's treatise of the brain and its computer-like entity capable of self-programming. Interesting. The Man and the Dolphin in 1961 is a book exploring his early research on dolphin communication and the implications for understanding new non-human intelligence. His writings were often blended rigorous scientific mythology and psychological and metaphysical perspectives, reflecting his belief that the mind is a vast frontier for discovery. Dr. John C. Lilly's work with significant impact on the fields of neuroscience, psychology, and consciousness studies. His development of the isolation tank influenced both research into sensory deprivation and the practice of using flotation tanks for relaxation and therapy, which remain popular today. His dolphin research sparked ongoing debates about animal cognition and the ethics of animal research. His pioneering explorations into altered states contributed to the development of what would later be called transpersonal psychology and influenced the human potential movement. Lilly's unconventional approach to these psychedelics positioned him with a controversial figure, admired for his boldness but also criticized for stepping beyond the mainstream science. Lilly's later work, particularly his use of drugs and exploration into the mystical experiences, attracted criticism for lacking scientific rigor and veering into the pseudoscience. While some considered him a visionary ahead of his time, others viewed his methods as overly speculative and outside the bounds of controversial science or conventional science. Dr. John C. Lilly was a multifaceted scientist whose work bridged the realms of neuroscience, animal communication, consciousness exploration, and philosophy. He pushed the boundaries of how humans understood the mind and other intelligent beings, influencing a generation of researchers, thinkers, and practitioners in various fields. Despite the controversy, his legacy persists as one of curiosity, exploration, and an unyielding quest for understanding the deeper layers of consciousness. Dr. John C. Lilly is not directly connected to witchcraft in a traditional sense. His work is more focused on neuroscience, altered states of consciousness, and interspecies communication. However, there are overlaps between his research and certain aspects of modern witchcraft and spiritual practices, particularly in the realms of consciousness exploration, mystical experiences, and the pursuit of altered states. Here's some ways that his work intersects with witchcraft-related themes. Lilly's deep dive into altered states of consciousness through sensory deprivation and psychedelic aligns with the practices of witchcraft that emphasize meditative states, trances, and expanding awareness to connect with the spiritual or the mystical. Modern witchcraft often involves rituals or meditations aimed at reaching a deeper states of mind and connecting with different planes of existence, similar to what Lilly aimed to achieve in his isolation tank sessions. Both Lilly's idea of the brain as a biocomputer that can be programmed and the concept of using focused intention to alter mental states resonate with witchcraft's emphasis on the power of the mind and energy work. In witchcraft, practitioners believe in manipulating energy through intention, rituals, and spells to bring about change, which shares the conceptual similarity with Lilly's views on programming human consciousness. Lilly's experiences with psychedelics and sensory deprivation led him to report encounters with non-human intelligence at higher states of consciousness, which he described in metaphysical or mystical terms. Now, this echoes some of the practices in witchcraft where practitioners may seek guidance or communication with spirits, deities, or otherworldly entities. His belief in contact with these intelligence might align him to how some witches view communication with spiritual guides or energies in their rituals. Now, Lilly's influence expanded into the New Age and counterculture movements in the 1960s and the 70s, where there was significant overlap with modern witchcraft. These movements often embraced exploration of consciousness, spiritual practices, and non-traditional beliefs, creating a cultural environment where Lilly's ideas intersected with those interested in witchcraft, divination, and esoteric practices. Though not specifically related to witchcraft, Lilly's work influenced a broader set of esoteric and mystical practices, including those related to altered states and energy manipulation, and the human potential. His willingness to push on the boundaries and experiment with the mind's capabilities inspired many in spiritual and mystical circles, some of which overlapped with practitioners of modern witchcraft. While John C. Lilly wasn't a witchcraft practitioner, his exploration into the human mind, altered states, and mystical experiences parallels some of the goals and practices found in witchcraft. His legacy influenced spiritual and esoteric communities that value expanded consciousness and the exploration of unseen realms, themes that present in modern witchcraft traditions. Now, sensory deprivation involves reducing or removing external sensory input to the body and the mind, often using isolation tanks or controlled environments to explore the brain's response when cut off from using the stimuli. The concept gained significant attention thanks to the pioneering work of Dr. John C. Lilly, who developed the sensory deprivation tank in the 1950s. The sensory deprivation tank is a dark, soundproof chamber filled with water and mixed with Epsom salt to make it highly buoyant. The water is heated to skin temperature and allows the person to float effortlessly without sensing the water's boundary. The tank blocks light, sound, and physical sensations, creating a near-complete sensory isolation experience. The primary aim is to minimize or eliminate the brain's input from external senses to allow deeper focus on internal process, such as thought, meditation, or relaxation. Many people report entering a deep state of relaxation, heightened awareness, or even altered states of consciousness during or after sensory deprivation. Users might experience enhanced creativity, clarity of thought, reduced stress, and relief from pain. However, extended and unextended sensory deprivation can sometimes cause disorientation, anxiety, or hallucinations. Sensory deprivation is known for facilitating altered states of consciousness, which are comparable to deep meditative states. It allows people to reach a state where external distractions are minimized, promoting a stronger connection to inner thoughts and sometimes leading to profound experiences of self-discovery. The aspect of sensory deprivation has been explored in conjunction with research on meditation, mindfulness, and even psychedelics, where it has been used to deepen the introspective journeys. Floating in the sensory deprivation therapy has been embraced for its potential to help reduce anxiety, eliminate symptoms of depression, and support physical recovery. The Epsom salt in the tank can also have soothing effects on the muscles and joints. The deep relaxation that sensory deprivation facilitates may activate parasympathetic nervous system, promoting rest and recovery, which can help reduce stress and improve overall well-being. While sensory deprivation can be beneficial in controlled short-term settings, prolonged deprivation without preparation or support may cause confusion, hallucinations, or psychological distress. Some researchers and mental health experts caution against anyone overused without proper guidance, especially for those prone to anxiety with certain mental health conditions. Sensory deprivation tanks have become increasingly popular in wellness centers, spas, and even private homes. They have often used for relaxation, meditation, and creativity enhancement. The practice has also been found among athletes for post-training, recovery, and among professionals seeking stress relief. Dr. Lilly used sensory deprivation tanks in combination with psychedelics to explore the boundaries of human consciousness, documenting experiences that included encounters with what he described as higher intelligence or otherworldly beings. This work was controversial. It contributed to the broader conversation about the potential of the human mind to reach profound states, and it freed the normal sensory input. Today, sensory deprivation has evolved into a practice known as floating or flotation therapy, and has been studied for its potential benefits in treating stress, chronic pain, and sleep disorders. It's recognized as both a meditative and therapeutic tool that facilitates deep relaxation and self-exploration. Now, the witch's cradle is a historical and esoteric tool that has been associated with certain occult practices, especially within witchcraft and ritualistic magic. It is often described as a method used to induce altered states of consciousness or trance-like states for spiritual, mystical, and ritual purposes. This is an overview of how significance has been used. The witch's cradle is a form of sensory deprivation, a suspension technique, in which the individual is wrapped or swaddled with cloth or rope, creating a feeling of being cradled or suspended. It can be done by hanging a person from a point where they are generally rocked back and forth or swaddled tightly to restrict movement. The lack of external stimulation combined with emotion can induce a trance-like state or alter consciousness. The practices has roots in both European and shamanic traditions, where it was believed to aid in reaching states conducive to spirit communication or deeper meditation. Some practitioners in the early modern period, particularly during the times in which witchcraft and mysticism were being revived and explored, adopted the witch's cradle as a technique for achieving mystical experiences, connecting with the spirits, or enhancing intuition. The gentle swaying or the sense of bound is a feeling that's said to help focus the mind inward, reducing external distractions. This creates an ideal environment for deep meditation, vision seeking, or even channeling. When combined with other sensory deprivation methods, such as dark, quiet space, The witch's cradle can further deepen the trance by cutting off outside stimuli, similar to how the modern sensory deprivation tank works. The experience can trigger a shift in perception and awareness, which some practitioners believe opens the door to spiritual insights, visions, or interactions with other planes of existence. In contemporary practices, modern witches and occult practitioners use the witch's cradle as part of their meditative or ritual work. It is employed as a tool for entering deep meditative or enhancing astral projection. The witch's cradle also appeared in performance art and spiritual workshops as a way to explore the interaction between art, mysticism, and altered states of consciousness. In the early 20th century, artists and occultists such as Leonora Carrington and Max Ernst explored themes reminiscent of the witch's cradle in their works. The concept was also tried to the surrealist interest in tapping into the subconscious mind. Figures involved in exploring esoteric knowledge and ritual magic have mentioned or adapted versions of the witch's cradle in their writings. The physical and psychological safety of participants is crucial, especially if the practice involves suspension or restriction of movement. For those interested in exploring this practice, it is recommended to do so under the guidance of an experienced practitioner or within a group that is familiar to its use. The witch's cradle is a reminder of how various cultures and mystical traditions have long sought methods to transcend ordinary consciousness. By creating a controlled environment where normal sensory input is limited, practitioners can explore visions, connect with spiritual realms, and deepen their understanding of the self and the universe. Well, let me know what you guys think. I want to know in the comments. Hit like and subscribe, and we'll have some more episodes coming. Thank you guys for listening. And thank you guys for journeying with me through the Temple of the Owl. Thank you for listening on the Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting. This is Matt's Owl. I release the spirit of the owl. Blessed be.